Hello and welcome to Murders on the Yangtze River. This is a detective game, kind of in the vein of Phoenix Wright. And yeah, I don't really know much about it. It's gotten very good reviews on Steam. And yeah, we'll just see what it's like. And hopefully have a good time. I inked a pact with death. Awaited his arrival patiently. Tonight, he finally knocked on my door. Unexpected Misfortune, Chapter 1. Open up! If you won't open these doors, we're breaking in. Uncle! Oh no, what in the... How could this possibly be? No, Master Lowe! 30 minutes later. Lord, the murderer is sleeping like a baby at the scene of the crime. My head is spinning. I can't seem to clear my mind. The murderer? Could he be talking about me? Tap the left and right arrow keys or A and D to control movement. Stay still and quit moving, you murderer! No, it was not me. I'm just a detective. I came here to... I know you're lying. How dare you kill Master Lowe? Calm down, Officer Ma. Allow him to finish. We need to verify his true identity. I am Shen Chungping, a traveling detective. My assistant Afu and I arrived in this town last night to obtain clues on an old case. Our steamship broke down midway and we struggled until late to reach shore. I can't believe we got here so late. That's because somebody... Fix? What did he say? That's the ship. Ah! You shouldn't be allowed to go near a generator. The text is too fast. The ship broke. Uh-huh. There's a young lady crying over there. That is true. Excuse me, miss. Are you alright? Huh? Why did you run away? Perhaps it is a delicate matter. Well, let's continue on our way then. Oh wait, that novelist you're visiting. Is he really related to the open case? I think he could lead to the breakthrough we need. This must be the novelist's place. I'll see you later. What? You don't want me to come? You need to go find parts to repair the generator. Alright. Come back soon. I'm off then. Press and hold shift to walk, okay. Otherwise we run. I can still hear his footsteps. Okay, now they're gone. Who goes there? It's late. I'm Shen Chunping. I have an appointment with Mr. Lowe to meet today. My journey was delayed by a storm en route. I did not wish to miss our appointment, so I took the liberty of arriving at such late hours. Shen Chunping, have we met before? We have never met in person. We have always communicated through letters. Oh, I see. One moment. Come on in, Mr. Shen. Please wait a moment, Mr. Shen. I must finish writing the story on hand. I do not wish to break my train of thought. No need to worry. I shall bide my time and await for yours. It's cold in the evening. Could I trouble you to close the door and hang the latch for me? Sure. And a locked room has been created. A Western-style mirror. It seems out of place compared with the other furniture in this room. A wardrobe slightly taller than a person. A lock hangs from the handles. There are piles of old books underneath the novelist's bed. They are all covered in dust, which means that he has not read them in quite a while. The door has been closed. Please be at ease. I came here today on account of an important matter. Have you ever heard of the peculiar case that happened in London 3 years ago? Let's take our time to talk about this case. You must be tired from traveling afar. I'm sure you haven't had anything to eat yet. There are some local rice cakes on the chest beside me. Please, I insist, have a taste. Then it would be rude of me to decline. There are a few pieces of translucent pastries on the plate. I am quite hungry. Perhaps just one piece. Shouldn't have eaten the rice cake. No, wait, these rice cakes. That is what had happened. After I ate the cake, I lost consciousness until you all arrived. So you're saying that you fainted inside this room because someone had drugged you? That is correct. I told you not to weasel. Even if you are drugged, the only possible murderer is you. I've got ironclad proof. There's no way I'm wrong. Officer Ma, would it be possible to ask you to elaborate on what the ironclad proof is? How dare you, trying to provoke me? The truth fears no questions. Surely the judge also wants to see your proof to avoid misjudgment. Opay is a local celebrity. I must account for this properly to townspeople. Tell us what you know then, Officer Ma, just so I could be at ease with this arrest. Fine. Just so you know how you got caught. Deduction. Reasons for suspecting. Judge Chang, it's simple. Up until we found the corpse, this room was completely sealed off. Sealed off? The window frame prevents anyone from entering or leaving through it. The door was bolted from the inside. If I hadn't broken the latch with my kick, we wouldn't even have been able to get in. Which means that the murderer could only be somebody who was already in the room. And that somebody is you. How could this be? The room was sealed off, and I was the one who hung the door latch. Ain't the truth as clear as day now? Will you just confess already? Officer Ma's deduction seems quite precise. I believe there has been no misjudgment. Mr. Shen, unless you are able to provide conclusive evidence to prove your innocence, I'll have no choice but to give orders to take you into custody. Both of my hands are tied. How am I supposed to find evidence in such a short time? Calm down, Shen Chongping. This problem can be solved through observation and reasoning. All actions are bound to leave a trace unseen. I'm absolutely sure that I did not murder the victim. Someone is trying to frame me. So I will be able to find a contradiction within the traces left behind at the scene. Before I answer Judge Zhang's questions, I need to carefully observe the scene first. Crime scene investigation. Oh. The victim died facing upwards with multiple wounds on his chest, clothes stained with blood. My hands and feet are tied, so I can't get any closer to see any other details on the corpse. A short blade stained with blood. This should be the murder weapon, found within my grasp and now seen as evidence against me. The blood on my sleeve most probably belongs to the deceased. Seems like there is also blood on my back as well.
Quit moving, you punk. What are you trying at?
Officer Ma, could I trouble you to help me take off my coat?
Oi, how dare you order me around?
I would like to take a look at the back to see if it is also stained with blood. Indeed, Mr. Shen, there are bloodstains on your back.
That's gotta be Master Lu's blood.
I can see my reflection in the mirror. My face is pale and I look quite dreadful. I do somewhat resemble a murderer. Several long, continuous blood splatters on the floor. They are cast-off pattern bloodstains. There is an evident gap within the 3 longest bloodstains. How could this be? A gap in a bloodstain is most likely caused by something being removed. The bloodstain was disrupted because something blocked the way of the blood splatter. The appearance of a gap shows that something that was once there has been moved.
Have you found evidence that can prove your innocence?
This piece of evidence will be able to prove my innocence. I doubt the knife would, but the coat? Maybe. There being blood on the back of it? I mean, it's not conclusive evidence, in my opinion. But, you know, you're not going to get blood on the back of your clothes while murdering someone. But you may well get blood on it by laying down in it afterwards. But, I mean, this should be what they want. Officer Ma, is a person able to kill someone with a knife while having his back towards them? Yes, that is definitely possible.
Of course not.
If so, this bloodstained coat will be able to prove my innocence.
So this coat ain't yours?
It is mine. I am wearing it.
What kind of nonsense is this? With knife and blood, you're still saying you ain't guilty?
Mr. Shen, how does this bloodstained coat prove that you're innocent?
Take a look at where the bloodstains are. They appeared on the back and not across the chest.
So what does that imply?
It implies that I had my back towards the victim when his blood was spilled. As my back is facing the victim, I am unable to raise a knife to stab his chest.
You must have turned your clothes inside out when you committed the murder. Such trickery is nothing new to me.
Officer Ma, please look here. The floor has multiple cast-off pattern bloodstains, including one with a noticeable gap. It shows that there was once something there that had been moved later on.
Did someone mess with the crime scene?
That something was probably me. If I am right, the bloodstain on my back should be able to match the bloodstain on the floor. This will prove that I was unconscious on the floor during the time of the crime. Fair enough. I would not have been capable of stabbing him to create such bloodstains as I laid on the floor.
There is some truth to that.
Therefore, the truth of the matter is, after the murderer killed Lo Pei, he planted the knife in my hands to frame me for his crime.
Even while you are completely tied up, you are still able to calmly analyze the crime scene. Mr. Shen, that's impressive. It seems that you really are a detective.
You flatter me, Judge Chung, so my suspicion has finally been cleared.
As the only two people in this room, if you ain't the murderer, you saying he killed himself?
If I want to find out the truth, I need to thoroughly investigate the crime scene. However, with my hands and feet tied, it is impossible for me to investigate.
Officer Ma, how about we untie him?
Lord, what if he...
Rest assured, Judge Chung, I will not leave this place until we get to the bottom of this case.
If you try any funny business under my nose, you'll pay for it.
I'm finally allowed to move around in this room. I need to investigate the crime scene as quick as possible. I can't miss a single detail. Throughout investigations, I will surely encounter many doubts. I should think carefully. Click on the button at the top left corner to view suspicious. Lope and I were alone in a locked room. I didn't kill anyone. If so, then Lope committing suicide would be the only possibility. However, he could not have framed me for his death after committing suicide. Perhaps I will be able to find some answers from Lope's corpse. What do we have here? Is this the glossary? Detective. The Chinese word for detective appeared in the Song Dynasty, 960 to 1279 at the latest. Originally used as a verb meaning to inspect and inquire, the word was later developed to also be used as a noun. For example, the arms mentioned in the memorandum for the reappraisal of matters in Ji Town, written during the Ming Dynasty, included detective, which is equivalent to scout in modern times. By the end of the Qing Dynasty and the beginning of the Republic of China, with the emergence of large quantities of detective fiction, such as Detective World and the stories of Sherlock Holmes, the term detective had evolved to refer specifically to investigators working on a case. Cast-off pattern bloodstains. Cast-off pattern bloodstains are created when blood is released or thrown from a blood-bearing object in motion onto a surface. Linear or arc-shaped in general, they are often distributed on surfaces situated in higher locations, such as the upper end of the wall and ceilings. At times, the same cast-off pattern bloodstain will span across two surfaces, i.e. the ceiling and the wall and the floor, etc. Okay. I can change the clothes. Okay. Interesting. That's the safe point. Yeah. Okay. What about the mirror? I can see my reflection in the Western-style mirror. Will I be able to clear my name? Yeah, sure. The wooden box is filled with books that Lope published. Ghost in a Well, Bells and Bones, Mysterious Echo, The Confined Room Mystery. Unfortunately, this copy of The Confined Room Mystery is not the original manuscript.
You like The Confined Room Mystery too?
The reason why I came to visit Lope was to speak with him about this book.
You got good taste. The death scenes in The Confined Room Mystery were absolutely stunning.
Officer Ma, do you know where the inspiration of this book comes from?
Ain't got a clue, but Master Lo was an extraordinary fella. Anything could have inspired him. But if we're talking about good storytelling, it's gotta be Swordsman Case. It's a real dang shame we'll never get to read the next volume.
There were several pieces of rice cakes on the plate, but now they are all gone. This is Lope's corpse. Should I commence an autopsy now? Yes. External autopsy. His chest is stained with blood. Among the 3 evident stab wounds, 2 were fatal. The wound is small and deep. The shape of the wound is consistent with the blood-stained knife. The locations of the 3 stab wounds are irregular and in different directions as well. The deceased is in his undergarments and his coat is gone. I have searched the entire room for it, but it is nowhere to be found. If this room is a locked room, how could the coat disappear out of thin air? There were no abnormalities found on the limbs of the deceased. No hesitation wounds or defense wounds are present on any part of his body. That is quite peculiar. His mustache is crooked. Upon further inspection, there is glue on the underside. The mustache shape looks Western, not Han Chinese. Apparently, the deceased is wearing a fake mustache. A faint fragrance can be smelled from the hair of the deceased. The scent is neither from flowers or incense or cologne. It seems to resemble a scent similar to camphor wood. There is white powder on the collar of the deceased. Feels like something made from glutinous rice. These are crumbs from the rice cake. It seems that Lo Pei had eaten a rice cake before he died. So he was likely unconscious. And that's why there are no defense wounds. Or like no signs of defending himself. Death by stabbing, no defense wounds, wore a false moustache, only dressed in undergarments, hair smelled of camphor wood. I have completed investigations on the corpse. I need to reconsider relative clouds of doubt. Okay, I will do so in a second. Let me try to pick the lock open. I give up. If only Afu was here. He's very skilled in things like this. A walnut bedside table. There are books and several old newspapers on top. Within the bedside table are undergarments and such. One of these newspapers carried the news of Lo Pei publishing his novel. The photo in this newspaper. The one on the left is Lo Pei, and the one on the right seems to be the lady we saw last night. According to this, the young lady is Liu Picheng, editor who helped Lo Pei publish his books. There are piles of old books underneath the novelist's bed. Yep, nothing new here. Uncle, now that you're gone, I'm truly alone. I am sorry for your loss. In order to uncover the truth, I need to ask you a few questions. You're the one who murdered him. There's no need for your crocodile tears. Someone murdered your uncle and framed me. I am sure you would like to find out the truth as much as I do. Go on and ask them. Please tell me about the events you encountered this morning. Every morning I come by Uncle's place to help him with jobs that he's too busy to deal with. There has to be someone to take care of mundane tasks like cleaning up and feeding the chickens. What do you do for a living? My uncle pays me. I also help him organize his manuscripts sometimes. I understand. Please continue recounting what happened this morning. I came to visit Uncle, like usual, but I couldn't hear a sound from the room, which was strange. When I arrived, I saw young heir was already here. He said that he didn't see my uncle either. I knocked on the door for quite a while, but no one answered. I have a sensitive nose, so I kept sensing the smell of blood coming from inside the room. I felt like something was terribly wrong, so I told young heir to hurry and get someone. When we finally entered the room, I found that my uncle had been murdered. Go on and ask, yeah. Within your uncle's interpersonal relationships, have you ever noticed someone suspicious? Aren't you the most suspicious person? Then let me pose this question differently. Did your uncle hold any grudges against anyone? My uncle was very friendly, but he did hold some kind of grudge against young heir, the errand runner. What kind of grudge? Young heir attempted to steal coins from the table during a delivery, but my uncle caught him. Young heir was seized by the government and got beaten for it too. When did this occur? It was about half a month ago, so I'm sure he's still bitter about it. Do you suspect that young heir murdered him out of vengeance? After all, he's the one who delivered rice cakes to my uncle. Also, when I arrived here this morning, he was already here. I don't know how long he'd been. Now that I recall, he did have a sort of sneaky look on his face. It seems that it is necessary to talk about this issue with young heir. Go on and ask. Yeah, okay.
I can't believe Lord would allow you to join in on investigations. Don't even try to play any tricks. I'm watching your every move.
Rest assured, officer, I will uncover the actual murderer.
You better. Keep in mind, don't mess up the crime scene with your incompetence.
Alright. In order to find out the truth, I would like Officer Ma to answer a few of my questions.
Go on then, ask away.
Officer Ma, were there any other people present when you arrived on scene? What happened?
Huh. Why are you asking so much? Are you trying to say that I didn't protect the crime scene? Let me give you the facts. Everything is exactly the way it was when we arrived. No one's allowed to mess with the crime scene under my watch.
You misunderstand me, Officer Ma. I just want to know what happenings occurred before I awoke.
When we got here, Lo Xuan was shaking the door, saying he smelled blood coming from inside. I was worried about Master Lo, so I went up to the door and kicked them right open. After that, well, you know what happened after.
I suppose no one could have come in or gone out during that period.
Obviously, I've got a soldier standing guard outside the courtyard. We searched the entire premise, but we didn't find others, during which no one left either. That's why the murderer is definitely you. Who else could it be, huh?
I understand. Once I complete my investigations, I will explain everything to you, Officer Ma.
Go on then. Yeah.
Officer Ma, it seems you admired the victim.
Well, of course. Master Lo was a great novelist. Everybody respects him.
Does Lo Pei have any relatives?
His wife died young and they had no children. He's got a good-for-nothing nephew, though. Over there, the one who won't quit sobbing. Stop crying already. I'm sick of that awful noise.
All right. Oops. I clicked F. I didn't mean to click F. I clicked F again. Judge Chung, did you notice anything out of the ordinary when you arrived?
Well, I was not aware of anything unusual. Lo Xuan shook the door, Officer Ma kicked it open, and we found you and Lo Pei covered in blood.
I suppose no one suspicious was discovered during that process.
Well, none at all.
What kind of person was Lo Pei?
Lo Pei gained great fame when his book Chamber of Doubts was serialized in the Shanghai News. As the first celebrity to come from this town in decades, naturally he was loved by all. This town was originally named Qingxi Town. To comply with popular will, we renamed it Pero Town.
Alright, I understand now. Do you? A simple and modest front door made of pine wood. The broken latch still hangs on the door, exposing the brown lines within. Officer Ma, did you say that you broke this door latch with your kick?
When I got here, that Lo Shiwen was shaking the door with all his might. What good would that do when the door is locked from the inside? I got anxious, so I went up and bam, kicked the door right open.
Okay. Yeah, we've got that. Exposing the brown line. Hesitation wounds, also known as tentative cuts, refer to a series of self-inflicted shallow cuts made by people considering a suicide attempt before the final cut that causes death. These non-lethal cuts may be due to psychological contradictions, trying out the weapon to test its sharpness, experiencing feelings of pain, etc. Defense wounds refer to the injuries inflicted upon the victim when resisting an attack from the assailant. There are generally two types of defense wounds: incised wounds on the palms and finger joints, penetrating wounds on the palms and arms. Defense wounds don't appear in every homicide case, however, the presence of a defense wound, especially multiple defense wounds, must be key evidence of murder. I did not find any hesitation wounds on Lo Pei. That is very unusual for a suicide case. There are no injuries caused by a fight or a fall. It is also quite unusual for a homicide case. Perhaps this can explain why there aren't any defense wounds present. The reason why there weren't any defense wounds was because Lo Pei ate the rice cakes that contained knockout drugs, the same ones I ate. He was in a state of unconsciousness when he was murdered. There must have been another person in the room at that time. That person is the murderer. Who could it have been? How were they able to leave the locked room? The fact that the coat of the deceased is missing is particularly odd. Assuming Ma was honest before they arrived on scene, the room was locked with no way in or out. Then, this coat must definitely still be inside this room. I should talk with Lo Pei's relative. I need to obtain more information on the coat. Lo Shiwen stated that Yang was responsible for delivering rice cakes to Lo Pei. Theoretically, Yang had the chance to tamper with the rice cakes. He also had the motive. Could it be that Yang killed him out of revenge? I need to confirm this issue with Yang I hung the door latch. Lo Pei and I were the only ones inside until Officer Ma broke in. The only way to enter or exit the room is by going through the wooden front door. How did the murderer leave the scene without removing the door latch? Or perhaps the other way, how did the murderer latch the door from the outside? Lo Pei's desk is placed in front of the window. When I met him last night, he was bent over his desk, writing the entire time. Let me take a look at what he has on his desk.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? Quit moving around.
I need to examine the desk and see if there are any clues.
Who knows if there are any unpublished manuscripts sitting on the desk? You can't just go snooping around and touching stuff.
Officer Ma, I understand your concerns, but I merely wish to investigate. I'll be careful.
You better be. I'll be keeping a close eye on you from right here.
A common white pomelo candlestick. There is still half a stick of unburned candle on top. A rack with 4 calligraphy brushes hanging on it. A piece of oil paper underneath the rack. The ink on one of the calligraphy brushes has not dried out yet. A simple square-shaped inkstone. There are several plum blossoms engraved on one side. There is a layer of residual ink on the inkstone that is starting to harden into a gelled state. A stack of books on the table, including The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Here is a book titled Tales of the Moon Colony. There are several magazines underneath it, all of which are illustrative fiction. A stack of newspapers. Various issues of the Shanghai News have all published Liu Pei's works. There is a pile of blank rice papers in the drawer with a paperweight placed on top. Next to the papers are 2 new pens, 3 candles, and a box of matches. There is also a small box. It is an ink cartridge made of tin, holding a half-fused ink block. A frame on the window that would stop people from climbing in or out. No traces of scaling. I was not able to find any useful clues. It seems like something is missing from the table. In order to uncover the truth, I need to ask you a few more questions. Go on and ask. Your uncle's attire coat, deerstalker, and fake mustache was quite unusual. The hat and the mustache were all characteristics of his novelist identity. He purposely dressed himself up this way to become famous. So that ill-fitting strange coat was also one of his characteristics? Strange coat? You mean that western windcoat he wore all the time? Precisely, the windcoat made of silk. The tailor-made coat was one of my uncle's characteristics. He spent a lot to hire the best tailor and used the best fabric for the coat, but it turned out... The fact that this windcoat is not present at the crime scene is what caught my attention. So, you're saying that my uncle's coat disappeared out of thin air? Perhaps the murderer took it with them. The way you said it, Mr. Shen, sounds as if it were a plot from a novel. Okay. According to Lo Xiwen, this coat was tailor-made for Lo Pei. The coat was one of the characteristics of Lo Pei's novelist identity. He always wore it. Something of such importance ought to be left at the scene. However, it is no longer in this room. The murderer is the only person who has left this room. He must have taken the coat with him. The murderer must have had a reason to do so. Or it's in the wardrobe. Nothing useful on the desk. However, I felt something was unusual about it. It seems like something is missing. What could it be? He's just letting me go outside?
Shen, I've been waiting for you. I heard there's been a murder in that house.
His Honor has orders that there is to be no shouting at the crime scene.
Ah, Shen, you don't look very well. Is everything alright?
I'm fine. However, I am afraid I will have to stay here until the truth is uncovered.
Have you found the murderer? Who's the prime suspect?
At the moment, the prime suspect is me.
I can't believe the murderer was actually you, Shen. Let me help you.
His Honor has orders that random people aren't allowed to enter.
Soldier, I'm not just some random person.
His Honor has orders that I need to guard this gate, so you aren't allowed to enter. Soldier, Judge Chung asked you to guard the gates and keep out those uninvolved in this case, right? You're not wrong. If someone is relevant, should he be allowed to enter? That's true.
Soldier, Shen is unfortunately a suspect in this case. He's trying to clear his name. As I am his trustworthy assistant, don't you think that I am also involved in this case?
I get it now.
I knew Soldier would understand.
You're the accomplice. The accomplice is also involved in investigations. You can come in and be investigated. Investigations can't be delayed. Shen Shengping briefed Afu on the case. And that is the general situation. So that is your evaluation of this case?
Nope, this is just a sigh for becoming an accomplice.
It was good enough that they allowed you to come in. Hurry up and help me investigate.
Okie dokie. Hey Shen, what is this?
These rice cakes are a local delicacy. I ate a piece last night.
Why did you portion? How did you feel after you ate a piece last night?
I did not feel much. I ate a piece last night and lost consciousness right after. Seeing your reaction, this bundle of rice cakes probably is not laced with knockout drugs. How disappointing.
Mr. Officer, when can I go? I still have some steamed buns to deliver this morning.
Excuse me, who may you be?
My name is Young. I run errands on the daily. I was the one who called the officials today.
May I ask you about the case?
Oh, of course. Everyone around knows that I'm warm-hearted, considerate, helpful, friendly.
Just tell me about what happened this morning.
Master Lo loves rice cakes. Every morning, Master Lo will ask me to deliver a bundle. As I specialize in errand running, my service is 100% impeccable. Everyone around knows.
Just tell me about what you saw when you arrived at Lo Pei's courtyard.
Usually, Master Lo is already out of bed and exercising in the courtyard, waiting for me. This morning, when I came to deliver the rice cakes as usual, I didn't see Lo Pei anywhere. I thought he probably overslept, so I hollered for him, but there was no response. I saw the gates were open, so I went inside the courtyard and put the rice cakes on the table. Then somebody called out to me. It was Master Lo's nephew, Lo Shiwen. So he went over to knock on the door, but there was still no response at all. Lo Shiwen smelled blood and asked me to call officials. I was so scared, so I ran all the way to the government office and got Officer Ma. Officer Ma and Lo Shiwen kicked open the door together while I waited outside.
You mean to say that you never entered Lo Pei's house?
After hearing someone died in there, my legs were scared stiff. How could I dare to go in? I was planning to leave, but a soldier came and blocked the gate, so I got stranded here.
I understand now. Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to ask?
How much do you know about Lo Pei?
Master Lo is a celebrity and I'm just an errand runner. Since Officer Ma is familiar with Master Lo, why don't you go and ask Officer Ma about this?
Oh? What do you mean by that?
I caught sight of Master Lo and Officer Ma meeting in private several times, though.
Are they close friends with one another?
However, there was once when they got into a fight and Officer Ma even unsheathed his blade.
What are they even arguing about?
I didn't have the guts to eavesdrop. Officer Ma was already fuming.
I need to confirm the dispute with Officer Ma.
Is there anything else you want to ask?
The rice cakes Lo Pei eats are delivered by you, is that correct?
Sure, I deliver them every day. Everyone around knows that I do my job seriously.
I passed out after eating a rice cake last night. Apparently, it was laced with knockout drugs.
What? That wasn't me. I didn't do that. Don't say weird things. I have nothing against Lo Pei and never even met you before. Why would I do that?
Did the rice cakes you delivered to Lo Pei ever pass through the hands of someone else?
Impossible. If something is handed to me, there's no way I'd give it to someone else. But I've heard he loves rice cakes. He'd never turned them down. Maybe it was a gift from a reader.
Do you know of anyone who gifted him rice cakes?
And not a clue. How about you let me go and ask Mr. Cow? Everyone around knows that I'm...
No, thank you.
Is there anything else?
Young I heard that you once had a grudge with Lope. Is that true?
No way. How could I ever have the guts to hold a grudge against Mr. Lowe?
Lope noticed you stealing his money and you were beaten at the court for it. Am I wrong?
That was a misunderstanding. How could that even count as a grudge? I saw silver coins on the floor, so I wanted to pick them up and return them to him. That's all in the past. If Mr. Shen hadn't reminded me, I would have forgotten about it already.
That was only half a month ago. You're forgetting so soon. Could it be that you felt wronged by Lope, then decided to kill him out of vengeance?
That's wrongful accusation. I don't even have the guts to kill a chicken, let alone a person.
When you arrived on scene this morning, were there any other people around?
No one, but Lo Shiwen arrived pretty much right after. I've already told you everything about my morning in detail. Do you need me to repeat myself?
No, thank you.
Is there anything else you want to ask?
Nope. Chickens. Look, Shen, there are 2 free-range chickens here.
Sure, 2 chickens. You think they are involved in this case?
I heard that the free-range chickens in this area have delicious meat because they walk so much.
Okay. We go back in.